Krishna Bhaktai Tad Bhaktaya Namo Ananda Leelamaya Vigrahaya He Mabadivyat Chandra Tasmai Mahaprema Sapradaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Sham Sundar Skandasika Swaraha Smurali Manara Karikars Mama Kripanate Priyacharna King Davevasmi Najvavitayavana Tirikaya Devi Tam Nama Charatikam. First of all, I offer my Sastang Dandavat Puspanjali, my heart like flowers thousands of times, at the lotus feet of my Holy Master, my supremely worshipable spiritual Gurudev, Asvatiya Paramaradhatama Guru Pada Padma, Nitya Pravishta Om, and to all of our Sri Rupanuga Gaudiya Guru Parampara. And finally, I offer my pranam to all the assembled Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis, Panchakalpatarus, Upasana, Param Pujapad Sri Bhaktivedanta Bhagavat Maharaj Ki Jai. Gaur Premanande. By the causeless mercy of Sri Guru and Gauranga, today we are celebrating this most auspicious, transcendental occasion, the Viraha Mahotsav, Separation Festival, Tirabhavtiti, Disappearance Festival of Nitya Leela Pravishta Om Vishnupada Shtotarasta Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. In 1921, one of his friends told, "Oh, Abai, Charan, please come with me to meet a very nice sadhu." At that time he was quite skeptical because he had seen many pretenders. But his friend insisted, so he went and had the darshan of Prabhupada Srila Bhaktivedanta. Hearing the beautiful katha of Prabhupada Srila Bhaktivedanta, he was very impressed.
Он был потрясен и очень впечатлен, когда он услышал удивительную катху Шрилы Бхактисиданты Сарасвати Такура.
But at that time, he was somewhat involved in the independence movement.
Но в то время он был движим такими идеями национализма и активно участвовал в группе там независимости Индии.
And he said to Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur, "You have said that this mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu should be preached all over the world. But as long as India is a dependent nation, as long as we don't have independence, then who will listen to this message?"
Он спросил Шрилу Бхактисиданта Сарасвати Такура: вот вы сказали, что нужно активно проповедовать миссию Чайтаньи Махапрабху по всему миру, но кто нас станет слушать до тех пор, пока наша страна, Индия, находится в зависимом положении от Запада?
Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur, he said, the mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is so important, it cannot wait for a change in Indian politics.
А Бхактисиданта Сарасвати Такур сказал, миссия Шри Чайтаньи Махапрабху неотложна. То есть она не станет ждать смены политической ситуации в Индии.
You are an educated boy and you speak English very well. I want you to preach this mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu all over the world in the West in the English language.
Обратившись к Шриле Прабхупаде, Бхактисиданта Сарасвати Такур Такур сказал: ты высокообразованный молодой человек, ты владеешь английским языком, хорошо, хочу, чтобы ты проповедовал эту миссию на Западе.
So from the very beginning, before he's even initiated, 11 years before he was initiated, his Guru Maharaj already recognized him and gave him the order what he should do.
То есть уже во время самой первой встречи со своим будущим духовным учителем, от которого он получил инициацию после 11 лет, уже Шрила Прабхупада услышал это наставление: проповедуй на Западе.
The years were going by, he was a householder.
Годы шли, он был семьянином.
And he went to one Namahata program. Some preacher was giving a class in someone's house.
И однажды он посетил Намахату, какой-то приезжий проповедник проповедовал дома у кого-то из знакомых.
And the preacher there was saying, Prithvichi yata ache nagaradi gram savata pucha hoibe moranam. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, my name will be sung in every town and village in the whole world.
И проповедник сказал, что Чайтанья Махапрабху предрек, что мое имя будут петь во всех городах и деревнях мира.
So then, when our Abhayacharya Ravindra Prabhu was leaving with one of his friends, they were going down the stairs from that hall where the lecture was taking place.
После этой программы вместе со знакомым Шрила Прабхупада спускался вниз по ступенькам.
And his friend said to him, how is it possible? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he came in this world 400 years ago. Now 400 years have passed and still his name has not spread outside of India.
Этот знакомый сказал так с сомнением, говорит, ну вот, как в это поверить? Чайтанья Махапрабху сказал это 400 лет тому назад, и за эти 400 лет ничего не свершилось, чтобы указывало на то, что его имена будут звучать во всех городах и деревнях мира.
Who could possibly fulfill this mission?
Кому под силу вот эта миссия, это совершить, сделать это возможно?
So then our Prabhupada, he stopped on the steps and he turned around, he said, some fool will do it.
И Шрила Прабхупада затормозил на ступеньке, повернулся, посмотрел на знакомого и сказал, один глупец, наверное, осуществит эту миссию.
But not you.
Но это будет не ты.
So all this time he was thinking how to fulfill the mission of his Guru Maharaj.
То есть все эти годы он уже размышлял о том, как исполнить эту миссию своего Гурудева.
Nija Seva Katara Karanchi Vidum Vidura Vitahum Kritasinga Baram. Srila Prabhupada, Bhaktivedanta Thakur appeared in this world like the moon, surrounded by so many beautiful stars, his eternal associates.
Шрила Бхактивиданта Сарасвати Такур зашел на небосклоне этого мира, как яркая луна в окружении плеяды звезд.
So among those stars, those eternal associates that came from the spiritual world with him, he had selected our Srila Prabhupada for this mission.
То есть с ним пришли многочисленные спутники, его вечные спутники из духовного мира, но на эту миссию он избрал именно Шрилу Прабхупаду.
It is not an ordinary thing.
Это необычная задача.
See, Vallabhacharya, when he met with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu,
Валабхачарья во время встречи с Чайтаньей Махапрабху
said, Kali Kalera Dharma, Krishna Nama Sankirtan, Krishna Shakti. Unless one is empowered directly by Krishna Shakti, he cannot spread it to others.
Он сказал, юга-дарма этого века Кали, это Харинама Санкиртана, но никто не сможет распространить эту юга-дарму, не будучи уполномоченным Шакти Шри Кришны.
So, Srila Prabhupada was specifically empowered in this mission.
Шрила Прабхупада был избран именно для этой миссии и получил особые духовные полномочия из Шакти.
I want to tell one brief pastime.
Я хочу рассказать одну лилу кратко.
In about 1980, one old pujari came to Mayapur.
В 1980 году один пожилой пуджари прибыл в Майяпур.
And he had in his hand a copy of one of Srila Prabhupada's, the magazines that Srila Prabhupada began, Back to Godhead magazine.
В руках у него был журнал Back to Godhead, то издательство, которое издавал сам Шрила Прабхупада.
And in that magazine there was an article, of course Srila Prabhupada had left about 3 years previously, but there was an article called A Lifetime in Preparation.
Но Шрила Прабхупада уже ушел из этого мира несколько лет до этого, но в этом журнале была статья «Жизнь в подготовке».
So what does that really mean?
Что значит жить в подготовке?
This old man said, I am the pujari from the house of Advaita Acharya in Shantipur.
Пуджари рассказал, я пуджари из дома Адвайта Ачарьи в Шантипуре.
I was there, I used to serve the deities every day throughout the 1940s and 1950s.
В 40-х и 50-х годах я служил там каждый день божествам.
At that time, about once every month or every 2 months, on the weekend, one gentleman, Bengali gentleman, he used to come to the temple and he would sit at the back of the kirtan hall in front of the deities and very, very peacefully, deeply with eyes closed, just sit and chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra Japa for many hours.
Где-то один раз в месяц, раз в 2 месяца приходил в наш храм господин из Бенгалии, такой очень уважительный, почтительный. Он садился в самом конце зала и с умиротворенным лицом погружался в повторение джапы.
He did not talk to anyone.
Он ни с кем не общался.
His eyes were completely closed and he was fully absorbed, and sometimes some tears would come.
Он всегда был погружен в повторение Харинамы, он сидел всегда только с закрытыми глазами, и я замечал, периодически слезы струились у него из глаз.
Then after many hours, he would give Dandavat Pranam, and then he would come to me and he would thank me. Thank you for serving Thakurji.
И он много часов напролет повторял джапу, потом он кланялся, подходил к алтарю, благодарил меня за мое служение и покидал храм.
So this went on for some years.
Это я так много лет подряд его так видел.
So then, after some years, I did not see him for a long time.
А потом он исчез на какое-то время, и я его долго не видел вообще.
And then one day, in 1965, I saw, sitting in exactly the same place, one very beautiful sannyasi in saffron cloth.
А потом, уже в 1965 году, однажды я увидел на том же самом месте, на котором любил сидеть этот мужчина, я увидел саньяси там.
And without talking to anyone, he was sitting with eyes closed and chanting Hare Krishna with deep concentration.
И что-то я угадал, что-то знакомое, с таким же умиротворенным лицом он сидел и повторял Харинаму.
After some time, he was crying much more than before when he used to come.
Вдруг я заметил, что он плакал.
Without any shame, he was weeping so much.
Не смущаясь, он громко рыдал, сидя там. Он никогда так раньше не плакал.
And then, after many hours, he gave Dandavat Pranam for a long time on the ground.
И он так воспевал много часов напролет, потом он встал и лег в Дандават Пранам, в Шаштанг Дандават.
So that Pujari said, then I recognized, oh, it's that same person who before was a Grihasta, who was very charismatic and attracting me by his personality, but I never spoke with him.
И тогда я узнал, что это действительно тот же самый Грихаста, которого я так полюбил за эти годы. Он очень харизматичный был, но мы никогда лично не знакомились.
So when he was leaving, he came to thank me.
И когда он уходил опять, он подошел снова по привычке, как он всегда делал, поблагодарить меня за то, что я служу божествам.
So then I could not check my curiosity. So I asked him, who are you?
Я не сдержался в этот раз и спросила, кто вы?
He said, my name is Abhay Charnaravinda Bhaktivedanta Svami.
Он представился, Абхай Чаранаравинда Бхактивиданта Свами.
And I am the most unqualified disciple of Prabhupada Srila Bhaktivedanta.
И я самый недостойный ученик Шрилы Бхактисиданты Сарасвати Такура.
And I have been coming here again and again and praying because my Guru Maharaj gave me an impossible mission.
И я сюда приходил много раз, потому что мой Гурудева поручил мне невозможную задачу, то есть неисполнимую миссию. возложил на меня.
He told me that in the Western countries there are countless souls, and all these souls, they are suffering so much because they have never heard of Radha and Krishna.
Мой Гурудева
This
объяснил,
is the reason.
и Шрила Прабхупада поделился с Пуджари, он сказал, мой Гурудева поведал мне, что в западных странах живут бесчисленные дживы, и все они страдают, потому что они никогда не слышали о Радхе и Кришне.
So my Gurudev told me, I have to go there and tell them about Radha and Krishna, and that the wave of love Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spread all over India, that I have to carry that to those foreign countries.
Мой Гурудев поручил мне отправиться в эти западные страны и рассказать людям о Радхе и Кришне, чтобы вот эта волна любви Чайтаньи Махапрабху, которая распространилась по всей Индии, чтобы она дошла и до западных стран.
But honestly, I don't know how to do it.
Но я знаю, что это неисполнимая задача, я честно вам признаюсь, я не знаю даже, как начать это, с какой стороны приступить к этой миссии.
But I know that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu and the Dvaitacharya Prabhu, they used to come and have meetings in this house and discuss how to spread the Prem Nam Sankirtan everywhere.
Но что я знаю, что сам Чайтанья Махапрабху, Шри Нитянанда Прабху, Гадада Пандит, Адвайта-ачарья, они все, Шривас Такур, они приходили сюда в дом Адвайта-ачарьи, и тут они обсуждали, как эту миссию исполнить, как распространить прему по всему миру.
So all these years I was coming here to pray to them, that they will somehow inspire me and use me as an instrument to fulfill the instruction of my Guru Maharaj.
Именно поэтому в течение этих всех лет я приходил сюда, в этот дом Адвайта-ачарьи, чтобы помолиться Панчататве, получить их милость, чтобы они подсказали мне, чтобы они вдохновили меня, покровительствовали мне в этой миссии.
So I was coming here for many years.
Много лет подряд я приходил молиться сюда.
But now I have received the sannyas order of life.
Но сейчас я получил саньясу.
And so I came here today because tomorrow morning I will get on a boat in Calcutta and set off to America.
И сегодня я пришел сюда в завершающий раз, потому что завтра на корабле я отправляюсь из Калькутты в Америку.
To try to please my Guru Maharaj.
Я попытаюсь исполнить волю моего Гурудева и порадовать его.
In this regard, I feel most unqualified.
Я чувствую, что у меня нет квалификации на эту задачу.
So I came here to get the mercy of Sri Advaitacharya Nityananda Prabhu and Chaitanya.
И посему я пришел сюда молиться о милости, молиться Шри Адвайте Ачарье, Шри Нитянанде Прабху.
Oh, Pujariji, please, you also bless me.
Пуджаричи, вы тоже
That I may be successful.
благословите меня, пожалуйста, на эту миссию.
And as he was explaining this to the Pujari, Prabhupada was crying.
И сам Прабхупада расплакался, рассказывая о своей миссии этому Пуджари.
So then that Pujari said some years went by.
И Пуджари, потом прибыв в Майяпур, рассказывает, прошли годы.
And then I began to see white people from the west with the tilak and dhoti and mridanga doing kirtan everywhere.
Прошли годы, и вдруг я увидел у нас в Бенгалии белых, преданных с тилаками в дхоти, они пели, играли на мридангах, они воспевали Харинаму.
And I wondered what happened.
И я стал гадать, как это произошло.
And then just now I received this magazine from America.
А сейчас вот я получил вот этот журнал из Америки.
And I looked inside and there was my old friend from the 1940s.
Мне подарили журнал вот этот из Америки, и сейчас я стала его читать и вижу своего давнешнего друга, которого я знаю с 40-х годов.
And I realized, oh, he has fulfilled the mission of his Guru.
И теперь я понял, что ему действительно удалось исполнить миссию, которую возложил на него его Гурудев.
So from Shantipur, I immediately came running here just to tell you this.
И я пришел сюда из Шантипура поделиться с вами этой историей.
So, from this small glimpse into the life of Srila Prabhupada, we can realize something, how dedicated he was to the order of his Guru Maharaj Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur, and how very humble and unpretentious he was.
И вот лишь из одной этой истории, одной из бесчисленных историй о Шриле Прабхупаде становится понятно, насколько Шрила Прабхупада серьезно относился к исполнению миссии своего Гурудева, насколько он был искренним, без всякого притворства, без всякого пафоса. Он очень смиренно старался исполнить эту миссию, заручившись покровительством Панчататвы.
But he was completely surrendered to his Gurudev, and therefore he became fully empowered with the complete Shakti of Nityananda Prabhu, and preached in such a way. Oh, even for thousands of years, we have never seen an acharya like that in this world.
И настолько был предан своему Гурудеву, что он стал идеальным инструментом в руках своего Гурудева, и Шри Нитянанда Прабху Аканда Гурудатва заполонил его своей шакти, и проповедь Шрилы Прабхупады была таковой, что тысячелетиями такого ачарьи этот свет не видел.
Srila Prabhupada ki. So now I request my very dear and senior Guru Jana, Sri Bhaktivedanta Bhagavad Maharaj, to offer his Srila Pushpanjali at the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada. He is very near and dear to Srila Prabhupada. He associated so much with Srila Prabhupada. He was with Srila Prabhupada also in his last days on this Disappearance Day also. So we are very, very fortunate, extremely fortunate to hear the eyewitness account of the beautiful pastimes and disappearance of Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada.
И сейчас я хочу передать микрофон моему другому Шрипад Бхактивиданте Бхагават Махараджа, моему дорогому Гуруджан, одному из приближенных учеников Шрилы Прабхупады. Он провел много лет с Шрилой Прабхупадой, он был с ним в последние дни перед уходом Шрилы Прабхупады, был с ним во время ухода Шрилы Прабхупады, поэтому мы очень удачливы, что у нас есть вот возможность из его уст услышать то, что он сам видел и слышал.
Namaum Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharyane Nivishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarayane. I offer my most humble obeisances unto the lotus feet of my Paramaradhya Gurudev, Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnu Pada Satara Sata Sisiman, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. I offer my most humble obeisances unto the lotus feet of my Shiksha and Sannyasa Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnu Pada Satara Sata Sisiman, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. I offer my humble obeisances unto the lotus feet of my two Shiksha Gurus, Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnu Pada Satara Sata Sisiman, Srila Gauragovinda Swami Maharaj and the Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharti Goswami Maharaj. And I offer my humble obeisances unto the lotus feet of the Sri Rupanuga Guru Varga, Srila Bhakti Vigyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur Prabhupada, Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji, and Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur. And then I offer my humble obeisances at the feet of all the Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis who are present here today, especially to my dear god brother. I consider him like a god brother to me, Shri Prem Prayojan Prabhu, and I thank him very much for the opportunity to come here and allow me to tell the pastimes of Srila Prabhupada on his disappearance day. And I offer my Dandavat pranams to all the Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis who are present here today. Dandavat pranams. Some of you may be wondering, so I'll stop you from wondering. I'll tell you right now, this is the slippers of Srila Prabhupada from London. And this is the sheet that was on top of Srila Prabhupada's body the night that he left, this very night when he left to the spiritual world. You'll all get a chance to come here later and touch your heads and get blessings. Tadiyanam Samartana. Tadiya. This is Tadiya. This is non-different from Srila Prabhupada. Sri Prem Prayojan Prabhu has given such beautiful katha about the struggle of Srila Prabhupada to bring the mission of Mahaprabhu to the West. He left me some remnants to discuss with all of you. Because he and I both had the association of Srila Govinda Maharaj. And we already had some insight into who Srila Prabhupada was. And Srila Narayan Maharaj just laid everything out on the table and explained it in great detail. The whole struggle of Srila Prabhupada to go to the West is called Naravat Lila. It's in order to teach us, the struggling jivas, what kind of sacrifice you have to make in order to please Sri Guru. He showed us how a dedicated disciple of Sri Guru will sacrifice anything and everything at the feet of his Guru Maharaj to make his mission successful. When we were in Mayapur one time, Srila Prabhupada was talking with us. And he said, he, meaning Krishna, he asked me to come down here to this world. I told him, I don't want to go to that dirty place. He told me, don't worry, I will give you many nice palaces to live in. I said, still, I don't want to go to that place. need you to go and write these books. And so, because he wanted me to come, I came. So, Srila Prabhupada is an eternal associate of Sri Radha Krishna in the spiritual world. Eternally perfect, with no blemish whatsoever. But he displays what's called Naravata Lila, human-like pastimes, to help us understand what is the process of the struggle that you have to take to achieve spiritual perfection. As we heard from Sri Prem Prayojan Prabhu, from the very beginning, from the very first time Srila Prabhupada met Srila Saraswati Thakur, he got the order. Preach the mission of Mahaprabhu in the Western world in English. That order was consistently given to Srila Prabhupada by Srila Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada over and over again. Srila Prabhupada was the one who was going to go to the Western world to preach the mission of Mahaprabhu. He was the one. No one, none of his godbrothers had the mission. He alone had that mission. When Srila Prabhupada was living in Mumbai, when Srila Prabhupada got initiation, he got initiation from Srila Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. At that time, Srila Saraswati Thakur, it took him 13 years before he decided to get initiation, or before he actually received the initiation. And when he did, Srila Saraswati Thakur gave him Harinam and Diksha at the same time, but then told him, okay, now you can go. So, some of the disciples of Saraswati Thakur approached Srila Prabhupada Bhaktivedanta and asked him, you didn't give him a name. He said, he's already named. And you didn't give him any service. Usually you give a name and then you give service to the person when they get initiated. Saraswati Thakur said, in time, he will do everything. So it was clear from the beginning that the mission of Mahaprabhu was his responsibility. Later on in Bombay, when Srila Prabhupada was setting up, doing business with his herbal drug company, him and his brother were living there in Bombay, and Prabhupada was helping to set up the Bandra Gaudiya Math for the Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada.
И позже, когда Прабхупада жил в Бомбее, он занимался бизнесом, лекарственными растениями, продавал своим братом, он там жил, он пытался основать там центр для своего учителя.
When it was time to open that Bandra Gaudiya Math, also Ban Maharaj was returning from Europe on the boat, and he was the first one to go to the West to preach the mission. And then, after that, Srila Saraswati Thakur and Srila Bhaktivedanta Sridhar Maharaj came from Calcutta, from Mayapur, Calcutta, to So at that time, this one brahmachari who was living in Bandramat, he used to come and visit us in our Juhu temple, and he used to tell us some stories about Bandramat, and he told us this story, very nice story. So he told us how Srila Prabhupada had practically single-handedly raised all the funds and arranged all the different things for the opening of the Bandramat for Srila Saraswati Thakur. And at that time, Srila Bhaktivedanta Sridhar Maharaj was talking with Srila Saraswati Thakur about the contribution of Abhay Babu to establish the Bandramat. So Srila Sridhar Maharaj said to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur that Abhay Babu has done everything. He has organized everything, raised all the funds. So you should make him the Mat commander. You should put him in charge of the Bandramat. Srila Saraswati Thakur said, no. I have much bigger service for him to do. So again, it was clear that the mission of Mahaprabhu in the West was my Srila Prabhupada's mission. During the time of Srila Saraswati Thakur, all the discussion was always about who is going to go to the West next, who's going to go to the West next, and who will start the mission of Mahaprabhu in the West. So, now that Ban Maharaj had returned, they were sitting to have some discussion about the next devotee who should go to the West and preach. Narottam-Ananda, who was later became Bhakti Kamala Madhusudana Maharaj and was the person who preached to Srila Narayan Maharaj to come to the Gaudiya mission, was there. and our Srila Prabhupada was there, and Srila Sridhar Maharaj was there, and so many other Gaudiya luminaries were in the room with Srila Saraswati Thakur. Then, Srila Saraswati Thakur looked at Narottam and he said, Narottam speaks very good English. He was the editor of an English newspaper, Amrita Bazar Patrika in Calcutta. He can go to the West and preach the mission. So, Narottam started weeping. Oh, please, Prabhupada, don't give me this order. That means I have to leave your lotus feet. I cannot survive in separation from your lotus feet. Please don't give me this order. So Srila Prabhupada Saraswati Thakur said, okay, don't worry. Besides, Abhay Babu is going to go and do everything. Again and again, this point kept coming up that Srila Prabhupada was the one who will do everything. In 1936, on the final Navadvip Parikram, Srila Saraswati Thakur was giving a lecture. At that time, Srila Bhakti Saranga Goswami Maharaj had just returned from the West. He was the second preacher to go and preach in the West. And when Srila Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada was lecturing, he started talking about the glories of preaching the mission of Mahaprabhu in the Western world. He said, Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur requested me to preach the mission of Mahaprabhu in the Western world. And my saintly mother Bhagavati Devi requested me on her deathbed that you please preach the mission of Mahaprabhu in the Western world. Because of their request, I have spent the lifeblood of the Gaudiya Math in the form of this money to send 2 preachers to the West. But until now, they have not been successful. So, at that point, there was one Babaji, a disciple of Bhaktisiddhanta who became Babaji. He was a Grihastha at the time. He told he was telling this story, and he said at that point, Srila Saraswati Thakur stopped talking. In front of Srila Saraswati Thakur were all the saffron-clad devotees, the sannyasis and the brahmacharis. Then to the sides were the grihastha men. And in the back were all the ladies. This is Bengali culture, Vedic culture. Srila Saraswati Thakur had been looking at all of the saffron-clad devotees while he was speaking. But when he stopped, he turned away from them and looking off to the side, he began staring at one devotee in particular. This Baba thought, oh, he's looking at me. Then he realized, I'm sorry. Then he realized, no, he's not looking at me, he's looking behind me. Who is he looking at? Abhay Babu. Then after Srila Saraswati, he said that Srila Saraswati Thakur and Abhay Babu were looking at each other very intently, with great intent and passion, spiritual passion. Then Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur looked back at the saffron-clad devotees and he said in a very strong voice, "Today I have a prediction to make." Although the preachers who have gone to the West so far have been unsuccessful, I declare that the next person to go, no matter how long it may take him to go, when he goes, when he comes back to India, he will bring with him the whole world. Srila Prabhupada ki! So, in the last days of Saraswati Thakur, before he left, he received one letter from my Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada wrote him and said, "I am not a sannyasi or a brahmachari. I don't live in the mat. I am simply a grihastha. I am trying to do something to help your mission. Please instruct me. What order do you have for me that I can do to serve your mission?" Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur wrote back that if you want to serve my mission, you please preach the mission of Mahaprabhu in the English language in the Western world. This is my instruction to you. From the first meeting to the last letter, Srila Prabhupada was the one. He was always the one. came under the order of Sri Krishna to do this service. And he came to assist his Manjari Guru, Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur, the both of them who have served Srimati Radhika in the Kunja. So in this way, now we see how Srila Prabhupada spread the mission of Mahaprabhu all over the world. How powerful he has, how great he has done in this world, that on this day, all over the world, in practically every country of the world, they are celebrating the disappearance of Srila Prabhupada. So many different groups are there. Besides ISKCON, there is a large variety of Gaudiya Mats. Independent groups and Ritviks. So many different groups, and all of them today are celebrating the glory of Srila Prabhupada. So, I had some desire to be with Srila Prabhupada on his departure. Because of that, Srila Prabhupada facilitated my desire. Now, I'm going to tell you a very important pastime of how Srila Prabhupada left this world. And what I'm going to tell you today is not going to be told in every one of the different communities around the world who are celebrating Prabhupada's disappearance. Because I'm going to tell you about the very important interaction between Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada in those last hours before he left. How Srila Narayan Maharaj facilitated Srila Prabhupada's departure in a very special way. Prabhupada had so many God brothers and so many exalted devotees that were living in India at the time when he was leaving. But he chose one person and gave the order to him and told his disciples that he has that order. I examined all these conversations leading up to Prabhupada's disappearance. And one devotee who had a very nice tape system, digital system in which he could go very deep into all of the words that were being spoken, was able to extract from there the exact message that Srila Prabhupada gave about Srila Narayana Maharaj. Srila Narayana Maharaj was in the room, and a lot of my godbrothers were there in the room with Srila Prabhupada. And Tamal Krishna asked the Srila Prabhupada, what should we do? And Srila Prabhupada's words were, when the time comes, you call him and he will do everything. So the order was given by Prabhupada directly to Srila Narayana Maharaj. So on the day when I arrived, I was in Bhubaneswar for a Govardhan Puja with Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj. I took a train that night to go to Calcutta. Early the next morning in Calcutta, I arranged to get on a train to go from Calcutta to Delhi. In 1977, it used to take 24 hours to do this. Then, when we arrived there, I had to go to a different train station and get a train to Mathura. Then, when I arrived in Mathura, I took a taxi to Vrindavan. As the taxi pulled up and came next to Srila Prabhupada's room on the side alleyway, I saw Prabhupada's old friend Bhagaji coming out of the room in a frantic state. When he came out of the room, when I saw him, I asked him, Bhagaji, what's going on? How is Srila Prabhupada? Then he told me, the Vaidya has just read the pulse of Srila Prabhupada, and he says that within 5 hours, this was 2 p.m. in the afternoon, he said within 5 hours Srila Prabhupada will leave this world. Srila Prabhupada then left at around 7:14, 7:15 at night. It was actually, according to the astrologer, the most inauspicious day in the whole year. But he said between 7 p.m. and 7:20 p.m. there was this special yoga called Amrit Yoga. And on this most inauspicious day in the year, the most auspicious 20 minutes of the year was this Amrit Yoga.
есть это вот самое как неудачный года, это вот самая лучшая кошка года, и 20 минут длилось, что вот как раз он ушел в этот период времени.
And in those 20 minutes, Srila Prabhupada left because he was in control of when he will come and when he will go. So then, Srila Prabhupada, when I raced into the room, I grabbed my bag from the taxi, I paid the taxi, and I raced into the room. I've been on the train now for 2 days, no bath, no food, maybe a little fruit along the way, because I was doing Chaturmas Vrat. And so I just ran into the room and thought, I have to be with Prabhupada. Jai Shri Shri Radhe Shyama Sundar. I came in and walked up to the head of the bed, and over the bedboard, the head of the bed, I began massaging Srila Prabhupada's head with my one hand and placing my other hand inside of his open palm on the bed. If you go to my Facebook page, you'll see the 2 pictures of me. And then I was massaging Prabhupada and just trying to take in the whole conception that very soon my Guru Maharaj was going to leave. Then Srila Prabhupada's behavior began to astonish me. Srila Prabhupada began, I didn't understand at first when he exhibited these bodily movements, I didn't understand. But after a while, it started to become clear to me from my studies of Nectar of Devotion under the guidance of Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj that Prabhupada was exhibiting Hasta Sattvika Bhava. Then, what happened? Srila Prabhupada he started rolling from side to side on the bed with his arms in the air like this. Then, after rolling like this, he began to roar very loudly. Then he began to expel gas, belching. This is another symptom. Then Anubhav. Then he began to tremble. His body was shaking and trembling like that. Then he began to become stunned, immovable. Then tears were rolling from his eyes. And he just kept repeating them in emotions like this, one after the other. In the middle, meanwhile, all the devotees were surrounding the bed chanting Hare Krishna Kirtan very loudly. But Srila Prabhupada was impervious to all of this. He was deeply in the ocean of ecstasy in Hasta Sattvika Bhava.
Его с нами вообще не было, потому что он в это время был в глубоком состоянии остатка.
Then, Srila Narayan Maharaj entered the room.
Тут вдруг вошел Бхактивиданта Нараяна Махарадж.
He came in the door was from where Prabhupada's bed was here, the door was over there, I was at the head of the bed, massaging his head. Narayan Maharaj came in, he walked behind me, and then he kneeled down right next to the bed, putting his head next to Srila Prabhupada's head.
То есть вот где я нахожусь на кровати, я вылезла из головы Шрилы Прабхупады, на кровати стою, Бхактивиданта Нараяна Махарадж вошел оттуда, из двери вошел вокруг меня, стал со мной на кровати, на колени, я с головой Прабхупады.
I was just 1 foot away. I was an eyewitness to this entire Leela. Srila Narayan Maharaj leaned over and put his mouth next to Srila Prabhupada's ear. And I could see him whispering something in the ear, which he later told me was one mantra. And suddenly, by whispering that mantra in the ear of Srila Prabhupada, all of the Astasattvic Bhav stopped. The kirtan was going on, but that didn't faze him at all. But the transcendental sound vibration from the lips of the sadhu, that entered into Prabhupada's consciousness and was able to stop the Astasattvic Bhav. While witnessing this, I started to think about Sri Swarup Damodar speaking mantras into the ears of Mahaprabhu when he was in ecstasy and pacifying him in those conditions. Suddenly, I felt like I was witnessing the pastimes of Mahaprabhu in another form here in Prabhupada's room. Then, after lying there, pacified for a short time, Srila Prabhupada lifted his arm like this, with his hand like this, over the head of Srila Narayan Maharaj. This was, to the best of my knowledge, the last externally conscious act of Srila Prabhupada. So then, after that, Tamal Krishna came in and he asked Narayan Maharaj, we've set up the designated spot for the samadhi. Can you go there and check and make sure that everything is in proper order? That time, when Srila Narayan Maharaj got up to go there, I decided to go with him. When we arrived at the site of the samadhi, it was already demarcated with lines drawn in a particular dimension.
как прописано в духовной, какие-то линии четко были контуры внешние.
I had understood that Srila Narayan Maharaj had already indicated to them what the dimensions of the samadhi should be, its length, its width, depth. Then Srila Narayan Maharaj examining it, looking at it, then talking with Ananda Brahmachari, Prabhupada's godbrother in Hindi. Then he turned, all my godbrothers, a bunch of my godbrothers were standing around, 4 or 5 of them with shovels. So suddenly, I was standing next to Narayan Maharaj. Suddenly Narayan Maharaj pointed to one of the brahmacharis and said, give him, and pointed to me, give him the shovel. Then, after giving me the shovel, Srila Narayan Maharaj took me by the shoulders and placed me in the center of the samadhi plot. And he faced me in the proper direction. Then he placed his hand on my shoulder. And then he recited all of the mantras that you must recite before you begin digging the samadhi. When he finished, he took his hand and he indicated, he said, now you please begin digging. So then I began digging the samadhi under Srila Narayan Maharaj's direction. So suddenly at that point, everything hit me. 2 days of traveling on the train, not eating much, I was exhausted. So after digging a few shovels in a sort of ceremonial fashion, I gave the shovel back to my godbrothers and I went to take a shower and change my clothes. I then cooked my khichdi, I offered it, and I took prasadam. I was only eating 1 meal of khichdi a day with no salt or spices. So then I went back to Srila Prabhupada's room. I was all dressed. I went there to the room. And when I got to the room, we saw that the devotees were doing kirtan very intensely because it was getting close to 7 p.m. After a while, we heard the kirtan intensifying even more. I came to the side of Prabhupada's bed, and then in that last moment, I saw him lean his head over, and he left from his mouth, Hare Krishna. So then, after that, everyone became, it was pandemonium in the room. People crying and banging their heads on the wall. Hysteria. then one of the sannyasis started to remove everybody from the room because it was too chaotic.
Один саньяси понял, что это нельзя допускать, и он стал просить людей покинуть в срочном порядке апартаменты, всех на улицу выставляли.
Myself and Padmanabha Maharaj was also there. We were able to remain in the room with Srila Prabhupada.
Мне удалось остаться в комнате, и Падманабхи Махараджу тоже.
So what happened next was also very amazing.
Что произошло потом, тоже было удивительно.
Srila Prabhupada, the sannyasi said that Narayan Maharaj said we have to take off Prabhupada's clothes and we have to bathe his body and put fresh clothes on and put him on the palanquin so that he can go on parikram tomorrow. So then what happened was, as we removed Prabhupada's clothes, one of the first things that was removed was the sheet. And I took it from I was at the foot of the bed, I picked up the sheet and I put it in my side bag. To this day I have not washed the sheet. The sheet is just the way it was when Prabhupada. So then, the amazing thing is, as his clothes were being removed, the room began to fill with a beautiful divine fragrance. The last item that we removed was a diaper that was on Prabhupada's body to catch the oozing urine. When we removed that, a very powerful fragrance of flowers permeated the atmosphere. We all put that diaper up to our faces to smell the beautiful fragrance. You can understand the divinity of Srila Prabhupada. Such a diaper from the body of an ordinary 80-year-old man would be unbreathable. But Srila Prabhupada was filled with Srila Prabhupada's fragrance was divine aroma of flowers. Also, Srila Prabhupada exhibited many other symptoms of a pure devotee spiritualized body. There was no gangrene underneath the fingernails or the toenails of the body. And there was no rigor mortis. The body never became stiff. It was always completely flexible. And there's something that happens when a person dies and the heart stops pumping the blood. The blood starts to collect and the body becomes discolored with the blood, marbled, a purple, reddish purple marbling on the body. None of that ever happened to Prabhupada. It's called mottling. It never happened. Prabhupada's body remained fresh, pure, fragrant, and undisfigured. So he displayed all these divine symptoms, no symptoms of an ordinary death.
Он показал нам всем, что мы поняли, что действительно наш Бхактивиданта неземного происхождения.
So we carried Srila Prabhupada out we put him on the palanquin. We had to put one piece of cloth because his jaw kept falling. So we had to put a piece of cloth around like this and another piece of cloth to keep his head against the palanquin so his head wouldn't fall forward. We put his Prabhupada hat on him and his chadar and everything, and we carried him out to the Vyasasan that's in the Krishna Balaram Mandir. And we placed him on the Vyasasan. And all night long the devotees did Hare Krishna Kirtan to Srila Prabhupada. This was led by Srila Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj. I spent about an hour fanning Prabhupada with a peacock fan. Outside of Krishna, only Prabhupada gets a peacock fan. So, after that, the next morning, Srila Prabhupada was carried on a parikram to all the 7 temples in Vrindavan. Srila Narayan Maharaj headed up the program and went on the entire parikram with us to all the temples. At each temple, the head of the temple, the Acharya, the Goswami would come out and offer arti to Prabhupada and prasadam and gifts and garlands. And Srila Narayan Maharaj supervised all of this. Then we came back to put Srila Prabhupada in the Samadhi. As my godbrothers lowered him down into the Samadhi, I touched Srila Prabhupada's feet. I was standing by the side of the Samadhi. In the Samadhi pit, there was 4 devotees. Srila Narayan Maharaj, Ananda Brahmachari, Tamal Krishna, and Bhakti Charu. Ananda Brahmachari. So in the Samadhi pit, Srila Narayan Maharaj wrote all of the special mantras on the chest of Srila Prabhupada. Huh? Yes, in Chandan, yes, in Chandan. He wrote it in sandalwood. And when he supervised all the other rituals and chanted all the mantras and everything. Then after everything was done, they started pouring salt, buckets of salt, on top of Srila Prabhupada's body. Then, when the salt reached up to the top of Prabhupada's head, they put a long, tall, thin bamboo stick on the crown chakra. And they started to keep that in place while they were pouring salt and dirt on top of it, so that when all the dirt was poured into the samadhi and it was completely full, the bamboo stick was still there at the top, so it was a direction. This is where the crown chakra is, this is where the sadhu is sitting, and we put a little flag on that.
То есть стали засыпать солью, и когда уже соль дошла до макушки, на макушку бережно поместили шерсть, то есть бамбуковую шерсть, и продолжали сыпать слой за слоем соль, землю, и потом это был как показатель, где находится макушка сада, то есть потом сверху прикрепили флажок к этому шесту, чтобы было понятно, что это вертикально.
So now I've recited the disappearance pastime of Srila Prabhupada with Srila Narayan Maharaj.
То есть вот я поделился с вами вот этой игрой божественного года, моему Гурудеву.
So before Arti, maybe you can come up, they can come up and take darshan. That was a different, that was like almost 2 months earlier. That was almost 2 months earlier. It wasn't at that time. Yeah, it was another time. Yeah, let all the devotees come.
И сейчас мы можем петь.
Hare Krishna devotees, you can come and give pranam and touch your head to Srila Prabhupada's shoes. And then afterwards